Welcome to the Craft Beer Channel.
You almost slipped, Brad.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we are still in Mojon. It's our final day here. We have been blessed with a fresh carpet of snow. And we are on our way to see Eskild, who you met at the end of the homebrewing video, to make a KVEIK. So a KVEIK is basically the Norwegian word for yeast,
yes.
But it's come to be known as the local yeast. We're going to learn lots about that from Eskild. And we're going to make a pretty funky kind of, well, it's essentially going to be like a Belgian double, but sour, but saison-y.
But brews in a couple of days.
But brew, yeah, 3 days apparently it's going to take. I don't understand this.
I don't get it.
We'll have to ask Eskild.
Crazy.
So we're on our way to Vikgarden to meet our fixer Espen, and then we're off up into the hills to brew a traditional Belgian KVEIK. To brew our Norwegian Farmhouse beer, we headed up to the former Mojon microbrewery, which we visited 2 years ago when it was run by a guy called Stian. Since then, the Vikgarden restaurant in the centre of town has taken it over, and Eskild has taken the reins. As one of the more experimental homebrewers, we asked to brew something local we'd never brewed before, and he did not disappoint. He even brought some traditional Norwegian mist. So it may look like we've just walked into a scene from Stranger Things, but we are in fact in a brewery, an incredibly misty brewery, so if Brad's hand has to come across and just clean off the steam, don't worry about it. We're here with Eskild. We are brewing with KVEIK, the yeast, the traditional local yeast, and we're brewing a modern style, a modern interpretation of what they would have brewed, I don't know, hundreds of years ago? I don't know the history.
Yeah, it's been for several hundred years. They've been brewing all over the country. The tradition died out many places. So people used to make big batches, maybe 150, 200 liters, even on the small farms.
Yeah.
And we also have a law in Norway from the old days. If you didn't brew, you could lose your farm. If you didn't brew, I think it was 3 years in a row, then government could say just get the hell out and
See, now I don't like the way that Norway treats its brewers, but that was some good policy. You lose your farm unless you brew. So let's start. Tell me about this yeast and what it kind of tastes like. We tried some yesterday, and it's sort of like a kind of saison, but also adds an acidity as well.
Yeah, some Belgian tones, of course, and it's by evolution, centuries of brewing and harsh conditions. It's been evolving to what it is today, and the one that we're using here today is called Järnes. It's from Voss, and it's
called Janus.
Yeah, it's the name of the brewer submitting it into the and it's it has 3 strains of yeast, mutated from what I heard 100 to 200 years ago. So and the yeast has no bacteria in it. Some of the KVEIKs has bacteria, this one doesn't, and it produces pretty easy drinking high gravity beers. Can ferment it at 39 degrees. Some use it up to 42 for 43, and it's
just like hotter than humans can stand, and yet this yeast is going, hey, it's party time.
Still producing. And it's fast, so it can take 1075 words, put it down to 1015 in 3 days.
So to put that into context, that's like almost like double IPA strength gravity, and they're bringing it down to a fairly dry beer in 3 days. Which is incredible. I mean, usually it's maybe up to 7, 10. So like 3 times as fast. And I guess that's where all these flavors come from. The fact that it's doing all this work. That's what's bringing out all these incredible flavors. So another thing we're going to do to keep in the Norwegian vein is we've infused the mash water with juniper.
Juniper bushes.
Juniper bushes. So you were just throwing that in before we arrived, and when we arrived there was this amazing aroma of that kind of soft, spicy tea, like rooibos tea almost kind of
Yeah.
aromas that juniper has.
And it has some antibacterial effects as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it affected the colour as well, so
Yeah.
the beer's going to be even darker than it would have been just with the carafe. And
yeah. And we only use the small twigs, the outer branches and younger plants. If you have more wood in it, then it will be more
woody.
astringent.
Oh, astringent, yeah.
So, and woody.
And woody, yeah. So this is the pre-wort, which sounds really rude, but it's right at the start of the mash and all the sugars have come out. But we're hoping to get lots of tannins and spiciness from the juniper. I'd drink that as a soft drink. It's much more balanced than like mash is usually really, really sweet, but you get those tannins and I don't know, definite woodiness, kind of red wine quality. And we're going to play off those flavours, that saison, that acidity, that kind of citrus you get.
Yeah.
By putting some caramel flavours in there.
Yeah. Some caramel malts, and we've been playing a little bit with the taste, and we add in some Belgian special B.
Right.
Yeah, and some dark ones, carafe one, just to get the last color.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the base malt is Pilsner, and we use some pale ale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. For the hops, we're keeping it
simple.
Pretty simple. Just some soft, kind of noble, almost bitterness that will just add depth and add balance.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a sweet beer. It's not going to ferment all the way down to where, say, an IPA would be like.
Oh, let's hope it stops at 10, 18, maybe.
So there's plenty of perceived sweetness, like a Belgian double again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the Northern Brewer.
Yep.
For bittering, a 90-minute edition, and then we just add some Pearl and Hersbrucker.
So what are we going to call this beer?
What about something with the war cry? There's a tradition that you shout out the war cry as you pitch the yeast.
Yeah.
So to keep the evil spirits and the...
Usually people outside that are going to drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep them away.
Yeah.
So we need some kind of war cry.
Yeah.
Earthquake!
Yeah, maybe.
It's not bad, is it? Just came off the top of my head. I hadn't been planning that. No siree. No siree. So this beer is going to be available at Vik Garden.
Yeah.
They've kindly hosted us so much over the weekend in Norway. And hopefully you're going to send us some bottles so we can try it. We'll put the recipe for this beer on our website, and there'll be a link in the description box below so you can give it a go. And if you do, let us know and let Eskild know as well. We'll put Vik Garden's details in there as well. Thank you so much for having us. It's been an absolute treat.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the gluhwein that we drank halfway through. I think if there's a little note of cherry in there, we'll know exactly where that came from. But seriously, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've never seen a brew day like it, and I'll never have seen a fermentation like it, and I'll never have drunk a beer like it.
Send you some videos.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So in 3 days' time, 4 days' time, 3 or 4 days' time, that's going to be beer.
What?
That's how you finish a video.
And on that bombshell.